So it is Friday, the 8th of November, 2024. We're looking at the waxing crescent moon. And I noticed up to the left and above the moon, there was a light sort of flashing, just a pinpoint source of light. At first I thought it might be an aircraft with the lights, but then it appears to be pretty stationary compared to the moon. So I opened up Stellarium to see if there was a star or planet close to the moon. And it turns out there's a star Chi Capricorni, which is probably the culprit. So one of the stars in Capricorn. So that's suspect number one for that point of light we saw earlier. Got some cloud moving in, fairly heavy cloud. We'll see what that does in terms of being able to see the moon. It'll actually make it easier to see some of the surface detail when it covers the moon, make it less bright. But of course it can also swallow it up completely. But it's hard to get a balance between the sky, the clouds, and the moon, because the moon is so much brighter. And the camera just doesn't have the dynamic range needed to capture all that so that it's, you know, the same as what the human eye sees. We're not doing too badly here though with the cloud when it's covering the moon, making the surface details more visible, but when the cloud gets very thin, then it washes out. So we're going to just let the cloud pass across. We're using a 400mm lens. It's a old manual focus Nikkor lens from the late 1970s, early 1980s. A Nikkor 400mm F5.6 maximum aperture. EDIF lens. That means low dispersion glass for good optical quality, low chromatic aberration. IF for internal focus. What else? Yeah, we stopped down one stop to F8 to boost the sharpness a little bit. ISO is 5,000, and the shutter speed's at 25th of a second, which is as low as it can go for video purposes. Can't use a slower shutter speed than that. And as I said, we're just going to let this run. I kind of like the clouds playing over the moon. There's a bit of a halo, brownish halo around the moon in the clouds that may not be as visible because the lens sort of crops in a bit. If I had a less powerful lens, maybe a 300mm or 200mm, you'd see the whole halo, but I'm sort of cropping into it with the lens. Anywho, I thought the moon would rise up higher through the frame, but it may have already reached its zenith. That's possible. It's already at its highest point. So I may readjust the framing. See what happens. We're going to just let the moon move across in any case. When the moon's rising, I normally have it rising up through the frame, across the frame from left to right. When it's setting, I have it moving across the frame, down the frame from left to right. So right now it's running almost horizontally through the frame from what I can see. And a bit lower in the frame because I had been expecting it to rise higher. I didn't check the full details of where the moon was in its trajectory before starting the video. This is somewhat impromptu. So yeah, it looks like it's pretty much at the, it seems to be rising very slowly. It's still rising, but not fast. So what to do here? I think I might just reframe by panning to the right. I think for now we're just going to let the moon move across. But once it does get more to the right, I think I will just pan to the right to bring the moon over on the left there. But yeah, okay, I thought I saw that star again. Briefly, I could be mistaken. No.
I thought it was a telescope.
It's a telephoto lens.
Oh, that looks so cool. That is so nice. Oh, so what do you do with your pictures after?
I'll put it on YouTube. That's video. You're gonna get YouTube.
What's your YouTube?
Robin Edward. It'll probably be up in an hour.
Okay, nice, nice. What is it?
Robin R-O-B-I-N. Edgar E-G-A-N. Yeah, that's the one. Got it?
I subscribed. Yeah. Is this one?
Yes.
I subscribed. Alright, I'll be waiting for it. Nice.
So as often happens, somebody walking by saw me shooting the video and was curious. Happens a fair bit. So I got one more YouTube subscriber out of the deal. What to do? Yeah, the moon is very, very slowly rising. It must be pretty much at the top of its trajectory. The cloud is getting thicker and thicker, and debating whether or not to pan to the right a bit. I think I will, but I think I'll let the moon continue across the frame before doing that. Let it just keep the camera stable for now. The moon's a bit lower in the frame than I would have liked, but you know, it's not the end of the world, shall we say? Oh, who knows? It might be the end of the world down the road a bit. The way things are going. I shouldn't say that, but anyhow. But yeah, there is that expression. It's not the end of the world. Well, we shall see, I guess. Yeah, so it's quite dark. I think now is as good a time as any to reframe this. So I'm going to shift over here. I'm not going to raise the camera. I thought about raising it, but I think the moon will continue to rise up through the frame. And what's on the screen is pretty murky, but it's corresponding well to what I actually see with the eye, which is actually quite murky. So very sort of moody video of the moon here in Montreal tonight. Good atmospheric, shall we say, video. B-roll. Yeah, I was using a teleconverter earlier, making it much more powerful, 3 times teleconverter. But I took it off because you can see the moon, but you couldn't see much else. You know, the clouds, actually make things interesting. Okay, now it's getting really murky. I'm wondering if I should maybe just end this clip. I think I will end this clip to keep it reasonably short and start a fresh one.